Okay, welcome to Fahrenheit Performance Podcast, episode number 23. Today we have Qing Xiang, right?
Yeah, just call me QX.
My Chinese pronunciation was terrible, but
It's cool. Everyone calls me QX here.
okay,
So
QX. That's not much easier, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're from Ascent Bikes, right?
Yep.
Local Singapore brand, and you got quite a cool story. I've been talking to you briefly this morning and today about this, and I think you're a very, very smart guy. Probably one of the smarter ones we've had on here. So it's going to be interesting today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Okay, so I'm the founder of Ascent Bikes. We're a Singapore company. We started it in around 2019, so we're around 4.5 years old right now. Mm-hmm. So we deal with bicycles components. Our vision is to create cutting-edge bicycle technology and deliver it to the global cycling community.
Yep.
And one of the ways we're going to do it is through rider-focused innovation.
Okay.
So as for myself, I'm a biomedical engineer at heart. I did my bachelor's and master's at Johns Hopkins University in the US.
Wow.
Partly explains my accent a bit as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So I spent 4 years there. And then
Nice.
when I came back, I worked for the government. Mm-hmm. So I was at DSO National Laboratories for 6 years.
Okay.
DSO National Labs is our National Defense Research Facility. And there I worked on things like soldier performance.
Yep.
How do you get maximum performance from our soldiers?
That's really interesting.
Human factors engineering.
That's
and
literally
all
like rocket science, right?
that.
But you're on the human side.
Yeah. So I mean, if you think about it, like our guys in the field are always like they're gonna be tired, hungry, and sometimes people are shooting at you, right? So
Of course.
we deal with like product design.
Yep.
We look at how we make sure that whatever we design, in terms of products, can work even under those circumstances. Because it's easy to do something that's really high performance.
Yep.
But the user cannot use it effectively if they don't trust it. Then it's never going to fulfill the potential that it
So it's
it
like
has.
in a triathlon context, it's like training people how to run after you've cycled for 180 kilometers, right?
Yep.
Because you can run, but no one knows how you're going to run when you're super fatigued after
Exactly.
cycling for 6 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, when you transition,
Yep.
right, from bike to run to bike to run and all that, can you imagine if you're tired, your hands are shaking, and your shoelaces are hard,
we're not
hard to
tired.
use?
I'm grumpy. I'm nervous. I overthink things. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you design products that work even under those circumstances?
Yeah. Yeah. So then what are you doing here? Why did you decide to stop that and do this?
I know, right? It's a question my parents asked me as well.
Mine too, because I'm an engineer as well. And my dad asked me recently, about 5 years in, like, you realize that you're getting further and further away from your previous profession, right?
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm still doing engineering. It's just in a different area.
Yeah.
And so I started cycling around 2016. So that's around 3 years in from my job.
Okay.
And, it's one of those things where you look in the mirror one day and you're like, wait a minute, I'm getting older. The belly's coming out. Don't have that much energy anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, you know what? I got to pick up a sport, right?
Yeah.
So my joints weren't actually really good.
Okay. So you didn't want to run?
Yeah, so I didn't want to run. I didn't want to do something high impact. So that left me with cycling and
swimming.
And swimming.
Yeah.
So I tried swimming first.
You're not good at swimming, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I like swimming,
Yeah.
but what I realized is that it's kind of troublesome sometimes because you got to if you stay in like a HDB flat,
Yeah.
you got to
Go to a public pool.
go to a public pool. You got to bring your towel, shampoo, and everything. So after a while, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna try cycling.
Yeah. Okay. So you started cycling in 2016.
Yeah.
When you're still at that job. Right.
Yeah. So I was there. I went to a bike shop and I said, hey, how hard could it be to build your own bike, right? So
That's the beginning of
boy.
the end.
I bought all the parts. Okay.
Yep.
I made all
Did you
the
buy all the
mistakes.
tools as well?
I did. So like overnight, my room became a bit of a workshop, and I'm not ashamed to say that I actually assembled the bike while it was on my bed. I just put a big towel over it and just
Okay. And then 2019, you thought, okay, I've been cycling for a while. Let's try. You started doing other stuff, right? You started dabbling in it.
Yeah.
Actually,
so
before that, I guess.
actually, it was before that. so there's always a tinkerer in me. I'm pretty sure there's one in the US as well. So like I was like, I buy the stuff, I try it out. It's like, hey, maybe I can make something work better, right?
Yeah.
And that actually spurred me to start like trying new things. And I've had friends, family, and colleagues who took a look at the bike that I built. They're like, hey, can you build one for me?
Yeah.
And that's how it all started.
That's how I started bike fitting.
Yeah.
Everyone found out that I was the bike fitter in America, and they all started to come to me, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, because it's not something that people do really often. So the moment you find somebody that does it, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Can you help me with this? And yeah, that's how it started.
Okay. And then did you start this job? Obviously, you didn't just decide, okay, I'm going to open a business, right? So was there a transition between your previous job and saying, okay, my hobby is now going to be my full-time job? So what happened there?
Okay, so I wanted to start a business ever since I was in university. So like being in the US gave me that kind of business bug.
Yeah. Everyone's a businessman, or everyone's an entrepreneur in America.
Yeah. So after I came back, I told myself I'm going to start a business. At the time, I didn't know what it's going to be yet.
Yeah.
So, but with bikes, I built one, I built two, and then like orders came in.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, maybe this is something viable. Let's try it. And so this is probably like Ascent Bikes is probably an example of a hobby that went a bit too far.
Did you always have Ascent Bikes as the name, or did you have any other names?
Okay, I honestly, this is one of the things which I didn't think too much about.
Yeah.
I chose Ascent because I wanted something uplifting. I wanted something that would, when you say it, when you think about it, you feel a bit happier, you feel uplifted a bit.
And climbing is a big part of cycling as well.
It is. It's not what a lot of people like to do, especially in Singapore. But I mean, it is part of it. And
it's where the race is won, right?
Exactly.
Cycling, so
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so you were doing it as a hobby. You worked out. Okay, I can make a living out of this. Right now, you do a whole bunch of things. What was your first product, and then how did it progress from there to where you are today?
Okay, so the first product I had was actually the Bolt Mini Velo. So I was looking at what kind of bikes would suit like a Singapore, like it's a very dense urban environment. So I was like, hey, mini velos sound like they're fun, right? Because they're smaller sized, they're very nimble, they're very maneuverable, and they're light.
Yep.
So they fit in the HDB flat, they fit in the lift without having to do any acrobatics.
Yeah, you don't have to tilt it
exactly.
up in the wheel.
Yep.
Okay.
So I mean, you have seen pictures where you got like 4 guys in one lift, and they're all like, So that's what we started out with. I mean, just designed the frame, placed an order for the frame. I mean, at the time, it's just like looking on Alibaba and like trying to find suppliers who do it for you.
Yep.
So yeah, I just took the plunge. I put in my own money, and that's.
Do you still do good mini velos now?
Yes, we do. In fact, we are in collaboration with Muji.
Okay.
So the Japanese company,
minimalist sort of house
exactly.
company. Yeah.
So they came to us in November or December 2022. Actually, they said, hey, we like the way you design your stuff.
Yeah.
The mini velo looks very minimalist. It looks clean.
Yeah.
And we like it to be part of our product range.
Oh wow.
So
is that going to be worldwide, or is that just Singapore?
I mean, Singapore is a test bed.
Yeah.
So it's in Plaza Sing and Parkway Parade.
So they currently have bikes.
Yes.
At these locations.
Yes.
So if I go catch an MRT to Plaza Sing right now, there will be one there.
There'll be 4 there actually.
Oh wow.
So
for sale.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Cool.
So okay, the thing is, you can't buy it from there. You can place an order. We'll build it for you.
Yeah.
And then we'll deliver it to you.
So the demo stock is there.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So mini velos, frames and bikes, complete bikes, right? Wheels as well, or just?
Okay, so I mean, the wheels came a bit later on. I picked up road cycling because so actually my first bike was a road bike, but I built it as a hybrid. And then yeah, I know it's like Glee, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I think quite a lot of people start out that way, and after that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna convert it to drop bar, and then I was like, wait a minute, this is quite a bit faster.
Yeah, it is.
And
aerodynamics and
exactly. So from there I was like, okay, that's there. At the time it's around 2018, I believe. I think there's a bit of a gap in the market for wheels that were like $1,000+
Yeah.
So I did the Zenith. The Zenith was our initial product
Yeah.
for wheels. 50 mil deep. I mean, it's a very classic profile, narrower rim and disc brake. And I wrote that for like maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
And then I said, hey, I think I can do a bit better than this.
Yeah. How are those different from just a regular wheel set that you buy off the shelf?
So, for the Zenith, honestly, the profile is kind of classic at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's like super innovative. I think that comes with the Polaris series.
Okay.
So Polaris was my way of making a statement that you can make wheels that are deep and stable at the same time.
Yep.
Because the prevailing wisdom then was that, if you want to go fast, you go deep, right? But deep wheels are unstable.
Yeah, when you hit crosswinds or something,
Exactly.
especially the front wheel, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, the engineer in me is like, why can't I have both, And
It's like the Venn diagram. What's it? Cheap, good, and something else. You can't have all three.
so we're definitely not cheap.
Yeah.
I think we do command a kind of like a performance as well. And I think as of now, I think we are the only company in Singapore that designs our own rims.
Yeah,
all the
that's
way
what I was
from
going to
scratch.
say. So it's easy for anyone to just order hubs or rims and spokes, put them together, whack your own decals on it, and call it.
Yeah, and then
Wheels, right?
and you got a brand, right?
Yeah.
But I decided that that's not what I wanted to do. It's not what Ascent should be about. I wanted to make something that would be world class, and something that I can proudly say is designed in Singapore.
So you got out your AutoCAD or you did your design tools, and then you actually designed a profile yourself.
Correct.
Yeah. So then the next question is, if you've designed it yourself, what about testing? And then the next critic would say, oh, you can design anything yourself. How it's aerodynamics? Do you do fluid mechanics and fluid dynamics and CFD and all that sort of stuff?
Okay, so let me just walk you through the process, right?
Yeah.
So I think, as with a lot of product design, you need to really figure out what the user needs are.
Yeah, of course.
So people want to go fast, but they also want to be in control.
Yeah.
And I mean, this kind of requirement is actually pretty common, even with the work I did at DSO. I mean, you have to make sure that you trust your equipment.
Yeah, of course. Because you're going down at 60, 70 kilometers an hour.
Correct.
On the side of the wheel. So you need to be able to trust it.
Correct. So what I did was we identified 5 areas which are critical to like wheel performance. So aerodynamics, of course, you want to go fast. So that's a given.
Yep.
But you also have stability. You have comfort. You have traction. You have cornering performance as well. Because there's no point if you have to slow down so much when you hit a corner.
Yeah, but then when you go flat, when it's straight, you can go fast again, right? So
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So so from there, so the way it works is that you create a profile and you optimize that profile in a computer.
Yep.
So you're right. You use something called Computational Fluid Dynamics.
Yep. CFD.
So
right?
what this does is that it simulates the airflow over the rim.
Yes.
There are actually many types of CFD you can do. But one of them is called steady state. In other words, it assumes that everything is steady. Yeah. And that's actually a really basic way of doing it. But what we do is it's called transient.
Because in the real world, the airflow is not going to come directly from the front of the bike.
Correct.
Right? So that would be the steady state flow, right?
For steady state, you can actually simulate it at different angles. But have you ever thought, like, does the wind always blow from this direction at this speed?
At constant velocity, right?
It doesn't, right? And what a transient analysis does is that it allows you to simulate it over time. What if a gust hits you, right? Or if you're at the limit of your wheel's performance, how does it behave? And what we have tried to do so far is to give what you call a very graceful stall performance. So the stall happens when your wheels. Okay, so when the wind hits your wheel at an angle,
Yep.
the wind wants to detach from the opposite side, and past a certain angle, the wind no longer really attaches to the wheel, and that's where all the nasty stuff happens.
So
you have twitching,
like speed wobbles and that sort of thing would happen.
You're gonna have twitching.
Yeah.
Because suddenly, like, there's a force on it, and then the force goes away, it comes back, and then you tend to overcorrect and you twitch, and that's where actually you lose a lot of confidence. So for our wheels, we designed it so that even when it's stalling, it stalls gracefully.
It's sort of almost deadens the stall. or
Correct.
something like that.
It warns you, and even when the wheel has stalled, it doesn't want to throw you off the bike. So it's a very
That's nice.
yeah. I mean, it's a very different set of design, parameters and design philosophy that differentiates us from other brands.
Like if you let's go on Facebook, a group for TT positions, right?
Mm-hmm.
All they talk about is raise the seat, lower their front end, get more aero, close up your CDA, and that's it. It's almost like one dimensional. So that is like completely opposite of what you're saying.
Yep, and I think this also brings in the importance of having a bike fit because you see, like everybody asks, what's your FTP, right?
Yeah.
How much power can you put out? But nobody actually really asks, how much does it cost you to put out that power? How many watts does it take for you to output 200?
Yeah, like who cares how much power you have? You got to use it properly, right?
Correct. And if you're fighting the bike, if you're fighting your own posture, then that's actually energy that could have been used to push you forward.
Yeah. So one of the bike fit questions I get quite often is, how much higher is my FTP going to be after the bike fit, right? And obviously the FTP is in your body. It's nothing to do with the bike. So you don't actually gain watts by having a bike fit. But let's just say your FTP is 250. You might go faster for the same amount of watts.
Yep.
Or your heart rate may be lower for the same amount of watts, right? That's what you're going to get from the bike fit. It's nothing to do with I'm going to go from 250 to 275 just from the bike fit.
It's true, but if you think about it in a slightly different way, maybe your total power output is 275, right? Or maybe 300. But let's say you're spending 50, just trying to hold yourself in that posture, then it's not efficient, right?
True.
So if you have the same amount of power, then it really behooves you to apply it properly.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just put it a different way. It would be like, let's just say you got 100% capacity and you come in for the bike fit and you are only running a 70% capacity.
Yep.
So then you want to get more out of your body and out of the bike. So then the bike fit maybe bring up to 90, 95.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so then Zenith wheels built in Singapore, right?
Yeah,
You actually
so-
build them in Singapore.
Yep. All our wheels are built at Built Wheels.
Okay.
I mean, I think they're one of the best wheel builders in Singapore.
Okay. So that's no secret. That's just everybody knows
In
it.
fact, like I've got 2 YouTube videos
Okay.
that show them building the wheels.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm really proud of working with them.
Yeah. Are they your own hubs or is it the rims that are Ascent?
So the rims are
the wheels
our-
at Ascent?
The rims are our own. We have our own model of hubs as well.
Okay.
But we can build them with pretty much whatever
So
you
if someone
want.
wants Chris King's, as long
Sure.
as the number of spokes matches the hub, you can
Hey,
build.
I mean, if you know anyone who wants a Chris King on my wheels, send them my way, man.
Okay. So you design them yourself.
Yeah.
You're the designer, right? And
Yeah.
then they're built by builds.
Yep.
Any reason why you don't just get a China company to build them and send them here?
Okay, so Ascent sells internationally. We are, like, in a sense, a global company that's based in Singapore. We have our products in around 21 different countries, including South Africa. How they found us, I have no idea.
Okay.
Right. So one of the things about operating globally is that logistics starts to become a significant part of your cost.
Yeah.
And if you by sending it there, it costs a few $100s. If there is a warranty issue, it
Costs a few $100s.
It costs a few $100 to come back,
Yep.
fix it, and
Yep.
send it there. And at the end of the day, like, what do you earn from it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, totally.
So our philosophy is that we try to get everything 100% proper out of the gate. And by having somebody I can visit locally,
Yep.
it does help with the QC a lot.
Yeah.
And every wheel that comes back, we check it before it goes out. And if something is off, either we fix it ourselves, or if it's like too far off,
Yeah,
we send it back. Yeah.
So that's like the NASA philosophy, right? You can't fix anything when you're at the moon. So you got to make sure that's right. It goes out correctly and it's not going to fail.
Yep.
Because once you're halfway to the moon, it's too late.
Yeah, it's a bit late.
Yeah.
And I mean, duct tape isn't going to work in this case.
Okay. So what's the difference between like Zenith and your Polaris wheels? Because Polaris are the relatively new wheels you have, right?
Yep. Okay. So the Zenith was our offering in 2018. So I mean, the profile is a bit narrower. It's like an 18 millimeter internal width,
Okay.
27 external. So it's good for like rim brakes because like most of the rim calipers can't open that
Yeah.
wide.
So my old Trekmadone that I ride, the Zenith would be more appropriate because it's a 25.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. So
Yep.
and then the Polaris is more, I guess, more modern, wider profile disc brakes.
Correct. So I think we're one of the first few in the market with a 23 mil internal widths.
So what is that optimized for? 28 or 30?
28, 30, 32. In fact, the way I design our rims, they're designed to be really versatile. So for say our Polaris 42, for example, we tested it 28 mil, 32 mil.
Yep.
There's zero aerodynamic penalty.
Oh, cool.
Which means that you don't really have to choose between speed or comfort.
Yeah.
You can actually have both.
And you don't have to stress about it either.
Correct. And actually, peak torque in the UK. So he's tested our wheels, and the 32s they work so well for him because the roads around his area could use a bit of improvement.
Some potholes and
Yeah. So having something that's wide allows you to take a line that you wouldn't be otherwise able to take.
Yeah, I remember the first time I rode a downhill bike compared to a cross-country bike. I remember when I used to ride cross-country, I used to love riding cross-country bikes. And then I got on the downhill bike and the wheels were so much wider. So you can just go over things that you'd be going around before. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it was so much more fun. And so tell me, this is quite a controversial topic, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Hooked versus hookless, right?
Yeah,
You go with
hooked.
hooked? Okay.
100% of the time. So
So all the Polaris wheels are hooked. So why is that?
Zenith and Polaris, even our mini velo wheels, they're all hooked.
Okay.
And the reason we do that is safety and versatility. So
Okay.
in terms of versatility, right, for hookless rims, you're limited to a certain subset of tires, mostly the tubeless ones.
So there's like a compatibility chart, and then
Exactly.
and then the wheel manufacturer might say, hey, where it's not compatible, it's not my problem because it's not compatible, right?
Correct. And whereas with a hooked rim,
Yep.
you can put pretty much any tire you want on it. I mean,
Okay.
of course, with reasonable limits, like because ours is 23 mil wide internally,
Yep.
you wouldn't want to put a 23C tire in there,
Sure.
right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is that's if you're out there riding
Yeah.
and you get a cut or something,
Yeah.
then you could, if you visit a shop, it might not have the latest best tires that you.
Yeah, like let's just say your rim is optimized for GP4000s, and then you go to a shop, and then they've got
Yeah.
PR4s or something.
Yeah.
You want to put them on, right?
Exactly. And I mean, the next thing is safety. You've seen a lot of like cases where the tires have blown off the rims.
Yeah, and everyone points the finger at the other person. This person says it's a compatibility issue. This person says it's hookless. So you just avoid all that.
Correct, but
Right.
I mean, the point is, if you're the guy with the face on the ground, right?
Yeah,
it's not going to matter, right?
No, you just don't want to crash.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And okay, so hookless rims, I think they make sense for mountain bikes because they are a bit stronger in terms of impact.
Yep.
So if you hit a root, maybe that might be a bit stronger, and the pressures they operate at are also significantly lower.
Okay.
But for road bikes, you see like hookless tires. Tubeless tires on hookless rims have a maximum pressure rating of around 73 psi.
Because if you go over that, might blow off the rim.
They
Right?
might. And if you're somebody who weighs around 100 kilos, 110, then you're operating very uncomfortably close to the
So you
maximum
almost
range.
have the engineering limit of
Correct.
of the rim, right?
And
Okay.
that's really not where you want to be.
yeah. It's like going over the line on the saddle, right? You don't want to go past that
Yep.
line.
I mean,
You don't
there's a stop line there, right?
Yeah.
You just don't go past it. Yeah. Same thing.
know. So I guess go back to the international thing, right? You Singapore brand.
Yep.
How does that help you or hinder you internationally? How do you, we got the Envies of the world, we got the Bontrager, Roval, all these other companies out there, big giant companies. Some of them will say made in America, right? Some of them will say whatever. Does Singapore help you in that sort of fight against these big companies, or does it hinder you because we're such a small player here?
Okay, so I mean, I was joking to a friend that if I really wanted to do it another way, I would get a friend in the US and then we just like say
just made in America.
Yeah, exactly.
Put American flag on it or something.
But I think being from Singapore, we have a reputation for quality and for like, I guess, cleanliness.
Even like pharmaceuticals is
Exactly.
is clean and good quality,
Yeah.
right? And then like wafer plants. I think we have some sort of this circuit stuff here as well, right?
Yep.
And that's all clean and good, high quality, right?
Exactly.
So that's
So-
our reputation as a country.
So while we don't exactly have a reputation as a cycling country like maybe like Spain or
Italy.
Italy, right? Having like saying that, hey, I'm from Singapore. I mean, at least gets them to listen. I mean,
Yeah, it will.
will they bite? I'm not sure, but at least they give you a chance and they listen.
It's a little bit like China and Taiwan, right? If someone says the frame is made in China, or someone says the frame is made in Taiwan, if apples to apples, everything else is the same, the person will probably go to the Taiwanese brand because I think it's just by reputation. I think it's a better brand, better quality, right?
It is, although as a counterpoint,
Yeah.
the iPhone is made in China, right? And I think, I mean, they might have the reputation like that in the past, but in terms, I think in the cycling world, I think the Chinese can make anything equally as well.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. It's just perception,
Yeah.
right? When Windspace Hyper wheels first came out, when I first started seeing them in the clinic, people were wary of them because they're Chinese, but they performed very, very well.
Yeah.
So they're quite common to see Windspace Hyper wheels out and about, just riding around now because that stigma is sort of gone, right?
Yep.
But then you got the other side of the fence where people got knockoff brands, right? And they're just copies of a Pinarello, for example.
Yep.
They're normally from China as well, right?
So I suppose you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get a counterfeit, then there's really no incentive for that factory to uphold its brand, right? Because after all, it's selling somebody else's ripped off brand. But if you have a brand name, then most of the time that brand would care about its own reputation, and it'll try to do its best.
I think that, I think some of the brands now, some of the China brands are sticking to brand names like Seeker, I think, for example, is an example where people think of it as a better quality than just a knockoff brand.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I guess while we're talking about bikes, you have a titanium bike you've just released, right? I saw it on
Yes,
YouTube
we do.
on Instagram or something. I don't want this to be talking about all your products, but I want to talk about the process of why did you think about making your own titanium bikes, and why did you take the path that you took with the 3D printed lugs and stuff like that?
All right, so I guess for the guys who haven't seen this, so we
Does it have a name? Does it?
yeah, it's called the Vantage.
Okay. Like the retool Vantage as well is what we use for the ocean capture.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. Aston Mountain Vantage as well.
I know, right? So like it's called the Vantage. It's a 3D printed, fully bespoke titanium bike.
Yep.
And so the geometry is entirely bespoke. And
so as a bike fitter, right? I've got a bike fit bike back here.
Yep.
If I do a bike fit on someone and I work out the stack and reach and the geometry of the bike, I can send that to you, and then sometime later the bike will be in your hand.
Yep.
Will be printed to quality exactly what I asked for, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So
So why did you go that path instead of just getting a generic ones made,
okay, so
or even not just generic ones? You designing if you just designed the stock 52, 54, 56 frames and just solder that way? What's the advantage of doing it your way and not that way?
okay, so a couple of things. I mean, anyone can make like stock frames, right? Of course, you have to take into context like Ascent right now.
Yeah.
So we're a pretty small company, and it's not like we're exactly flush with cash or anything.
Yeah.
So to bring to market a series of bikes, think about it. Let's say you have 5 sizes, right? And you have 4 colors. That's 20 SKUs. That's 20 stock keeping units you need to carry.
And you need to make 5 of each, right? You'd have 100 bikes.
Exactly.
Even if it's $1,000 a bike, it's already $100,000.
Exactly.
Right.
So and I think that there are plenty of brands out there who really have this stock kind of thing. So what I wanted to do was to make something that's really in line with Ascent's vision and philosophy, rider-focused innovation.
Yep.
So I think the reality is that a lot of bikes are not designed for the rider.
Yeah.
They're designed
Well, they're designed for some rider, but just not
correct.
you as the rider.
It's not you, right?
Julian Alaphilippe or it's Primoz Roglic or something like that.
Exactly. I mean, I've got twice the weight. I'm not sure. But yeah, so the thing is that a lot of people buy bikes that were designed for racers. They're aggressive. They're and I mean those guys are willing to suffer to get a win, right?
But as a professional cyclist, let's just say he spends 40 hours a week cycling.
Yeah,
But that's all he does. He when he's not cycling, he's resting or he's doing some like stretching or massage or something. But us everyday Joes are the opposite. We're spending 40 hours behind a desk, and then we're spending
Maybe
10 hours cycling, right? So, and those 40 hours behind the desk are not making us better cyclists. They're making us worse cyclists by the position that we're in all the time, right?
Yep. So, I mean, in Chinese, there is a saying, right? 学足适履. So you cut your foot to suit the shoe.
Yeah.
And it sounds really absurd when you think about it, but that's actually what a lot of people are doing with bikes.
Yeah.
They have 5 spacers, or like you have absurdly like high seat posts, just to make sure that just to fit the bike that you bought.
Yeah.
So
I got you. Yeah. So I think cycling is one of the funny sports, right? I guess running, tennis. It's one of the few sports where the equipment that the professionals use is exactly the same as the equipment that we buy at the shop.
Yep.
Right? Motorbike racing, no. Right? Formula One, even stock cars that you see racing, they're heavily modified. And we couldn't go down to the BMW dealer and buy a BMW that they race.
Yep.
Right, obviously, right? But we can do that with any of the brands, right?
I mean, the UCI dictates that you have to be able to buy it. So
exactly, right? And so we all force ourselves into these bikes. Let's just use Austro Van, for example. Force ourselves to get an Austro Van, but then put 40 millimeters of spacers under the handlebars. Right?
Yeah.
So it actually doesn't serve the purpose that it was designed for.
Exactly. So I thought we could be different. I thought that we could build a bike that would really suit the user. And when it comes to it, I think that 3D printing is an amazing technology for this because it allows you to make things that are one-off.
Yeah.
And everybody is different. I mean, for me personally, my legs are longer, my torso is shorter.
It's the opposite for me. I'm short legs, long torso.
Yeah, so you see my bike, it's really tall and it's actually kind of short. And people ask me like, isn't this meant for someone a lot smaller than you? I was like, no.
So if we were the same height, I'm not sure how tall you are, but if we were the same height and you were riding a 52, for example, right? I'll probably be riding 54 because
Exactly.
my torso is longer and I need that longer reach.
Exactly. So, and I mean, if you talk about people who are just getting into the sport, they don't want something that's they wouldn't want something that's too aggressive also. And sometimes
Also the people that are getting out of the sport that have been racing and then now they want to just enjoy the ride.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why 3D printing? I mean, it's for the reason that we can customize every single one to the rider, and 2, it looks bloody sick.
Yeah, it does. I like the way it looks. So 3D printing titanium, right? It's not easy. It's basically you got titanium powder, and then you got a laser. You melt them. You use the laser to melt the powder in the shape of the lug. But those machines are really expensive and they're really dangerous. Right?
Yeah.
So how do you overcome that?
Okay, so we work with a manufacturing partner.
Okay.
So we design the stuff and someone else makes it for us. So we work with a Taiwanese company.
Okay.
And
so you just CAD it and give them the model.
Correct.
And then they'll just print it.
Correct.
How long does that process normally?
So the process is around 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
Okay, it doesn't take 3 to 4 months to print it.
Yeah.
But I mean, being bespoke, right?
Yeah.
It requires that they carve out time on their production line to actually make it.
And they're all one-off, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could make 100 pieces, of course, but it wouldn't suit anybody in particular.
So if you're first in line, and it's the first day they're opening this factory, and you're the first in line, how long would it take just to actually do the actual work if there wasn't a queue of doing this?
I would say somewhere within a week, or 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's simply because the part doesn't come out of the printer,
and push straight and
just like this.
sent to you.
Yeah, exactly. So it has to be taken out. Support material has to be cut off. Needs to be cleaned up, and then it needs to be jigged up and joined.
Yep.
And so in this case, we use robotic welding.
Okay.
And
which would be more the quality would be more consistent. Right?
It's more precise, and we can make it such that it's essentially seamless.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're growing back the weld, so it looks like
so it looks like it's a single piece. So I mean, people have been asking me like, why don't you print the midsection? So just to be clear, the 3D printed parts of this bike are the head tube cluster,
Yep.
the bottom bracket, the seat tube, and the two dropouts.
So it's almost like the traditional steel frame 3D. Back in the day, before they had carbon fiber,
Yep.
before they had just welded aluminium bikes, they used to make lugs and out of steel, and then you'd join Reynolds tubing together. Similar to that, but you're not making lugs, you're 3D printing them exactly for each bike, correct?
Yep, correct.
And then you're not welding the tubes directly to the lugs either. You're somehow extending that.
So there, okay. For a typical frame, the tubes go all the way to butt against the next tube, right?
Yeah.
So that's what they call a butt joint. And for us, what we do is that we actually move the welding point or the joining point further away from the corners of the tube. And
so you print the let's just use the head tube. You'd print that with the part of the top tube attached and a part of the down tube already molded there, and then you would
exactly you attach it from there. And the benefit of this is that it reduces the stress concentrations. It makes the welding much more consistent because
the stress on a head tube will be right at the joint normally.
Correct.
And if you're welding right at the joint and the stress is right at the joint, then you've got a problem.
Exactly. So by using 3D printing, we can move it out. We can attach it at a place where the stress is less, and because there is a part that actually inserts into the tube, you don't have a butt joint anymore. You have what you call a lap joint.
So it's like a sleeve and an
exactly
overlap.
It's an internal sleeve with an overlap, and then you weld it.
Okay.
So this actually is stronger because you have a lot more contact area in this case.
Okay, and then so that's the frame, right? So the frame is 3D printed, all put together, comes back to you. Is it raw? Is it painted?
So it's raw. Okay. It's raw, and usually we specify a brushed finish because the brush finish looks really smart on titanium.
Everyone thinks of titanium bikes as just being grey and raw finish.
Yeah,
but you can paint them, right?
Yeah, you can. So actually, painting is not too different from other materials.
Yeah.
So we actually have in-house painting capabilities as well. So you have to prime it. So basically, titanium doesn't like stuff to stick to it.
Yeah.
Same for aluminum. You actually need to prime it and you etch it so that base layer sticks on, and then from there,
so it's like roughening the surface,
pretty much,
sort of, right?
Pretty much, yeah. You need to get a good mechanical bond to the surface.
Yep.
Right, and then from there, you paint on your color, your clear coat, you mask it, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
We also have capabilities to anodize it.
I was going to ask, because titanium bolts, they come in purple, they come in blue, they come in rainbow.
Yeah.
That can be done on the frame, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, you can. Actually, you can do pretty much any color except red.
Why is this just it's just a property of titanium that you can't do red?
So it's actually the physics. So the reason why like anodizing gives you color is because of like selective interference. The light passes through the oxide layer.
Yeah.
And then it bounces off the titanium as well.
Yeah.
And then what comes out, is
filtered.
Yeah, exactly. So red just happens to be like
unfilterable or completely filtered.
How do I put it? Red is like a multiple of blue
and green.
Like so, red. The wavelength of red is actually like around a multiple of blue.
Yeah.
So if you try to do red, you end up with like a pinkish purplish kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this frame. It's your custom geometry. Then you just slap on your own forks or what do you do for the fork?
We have our own like road forks.
Yeah.
So the road fork we use right now has a clearance of around 32 mils.
Okay.
Then we slap on a FSA full like ACR. Although frankly, if you want to put NV and NV fork, NV stem, one piece integrated bar, be my guest.
Okay.
Right?
And then I guess just for whatever components you want.
Exactly.
And preferably Ascent wheels.
Yeah, I mean preferably. I mean so far everyone who has ordered it has gotten those wheels. But yeah.
How's the feedback so far from after you've launched? It's only been a few weeks, right?
Yeah, it's
officially.
Only been, yep. And I mean we've got a couple of clients already.
Yep.
In fact, one of them is from Ecuador.
Wow. How the heck did he find out about it?
I have no idea. I think it's that Instagram reel.
Hashtag or something that you added to the reel.
Yeah, maybe it's like I hashtag like I am titanium or something, and then So I mean on Instagram I'm the guy who's always doing like silly stuff there. So I think he found out about us from there. Dropped us a message. He's saying like I'm really excited about this.
Yeah.
Like
it's not common, right? It's titanium bikes are quite common, but the 3D printed titanium bikes are not.
exactly, and I think it's the combination of the the seamless look and the bespoke nature of the frame that actually really interested him, and it made him interested in it.
Are you riding it yourself? Okay. And what's if you're going to characterize the ride? Well, how would you categorize it?
I would say it's confidence inspiring.
Okay.
I've taken it to Hanoi where we have ridden on mountain roads.
Yep.
Did like a 700-meter straight climb. Okay, I know it doesn't sound very much, but it's a lot more than what
context is really.
it's a lot more than what I usually do.
Yep.
And I've taken it down the exact same descent,
Yep.
like 7%, like for 10 kilometers straight, weaving in and out of potholes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way I would describe it is it's really solid. It's confidence inspiring. So it's not the lightest.
Yep.
It's
So
not the
what
lightest.
will the frame roughly be?
It's about 1.3 kilos.
With the fork or with
No, just the frame itself.
So the metal part
Yeah,
is 1.3.
correct. About 1.3. So it depends on the user size. So someone who's like maybe 1.6 meters,
Yep.
maybe 1.3.
Okay.
Someone who's like 1.9,
Size 58, rough.
Maybe
Although
one-
there's no sizes, but like a
yeah,
comparable
like
size.
maybe a 1.4 to 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So that means if you add components and just an average finishing kit, it would probably be what 7+
7 plus maybe 8.
kilos.
Yeah. So I mean the way I describe it is that if you can go really fast on a car, right? Like say maybe a Camry. You can go really fast on it, but when you hit that speed, you feel like it's
The wheels are wobbling in there.
yeah, exactly. You feel like you feel the speed, but
Yeah.
with this bike, it feels more like a Rolls Royce or a Bugatti.
Okay, so it's like stable and solid.
It's stable. Like it's not going to give up on you.
Well, it's like closing the door on a BMW and closing the door on a Hyundai.
Yeah,
It sounds much more solid.
Correct.
It looks much more solid.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the kind of feeling that I want our riders to have as well.
Okay, so it's really one of a kind. Each bike is different.
Exactly. I mean, I'll be happy to make one for you as well.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to do a bike fitter myself and then send you the dimensions. But why did you choose titanium and not like a carbon fiber?
I mean, everyone's doing carbon, right?
But custom carbon fiber is also quite difficult to do, right?
Okay, custom carbon fiber is seldom done. The reason being that for carbon you need to lay it up onto a preform, yeah, and then put it into the mold and bake it, and then it forms the final shape. Thing is that to make a one piece like carbon frame is extremely difficult and expensive. So no one's going to ever make. Okay, I mean I wouldn't say no one, but no one with a finite amount of money
Yeah,
would make a mold, like a steel mold, to make one
every
frame.
single frame. Yeah.
Correct. Because when it comes to carbon, it's not just like slapping carbon in. There are different grades of carbon. I mean, the typical like T700, 800, 1000, and then you have the high stiffness ones, which are like the M series.
And it's not just making the shape of a bike as well. It's the way you lay each piece and put the
Exactly.
100 pieces in the one bike.
Yeah, so it's like a really expensive gui lapis, right? Yeah, it's like many layers.
Yeah. No, many clean pieces overlap and join together to make it
Yeah,
a bike.
exactly. So it's not just about the cost of the mold, but the cost of R&D to determine exactly where to place those layers, how many, which direction, what grade.
I guess that's still why the custom steel bike industry still exists, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can still do the traditional way. You can still get a custom fit for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess if it's so bespoke, this is not something that you can make 20 of and just put on the shelf and wait for buyers, right?
Yeah, it's not. In fact, I would much rather not. If you visited our shop, you'll see like the space is kind of tight as well.
Yeah.
So we rather do it once, do it right.
So but if someone wanted a touch and feel one, do you have a demo or just a sample in the shop that people can go and just look at the quality and look at how sort of the aesthetics of it?
Yeah, it's a shop bike, but since I own the shop, it's built for me.
Yeah.
So it's there. It's there most of the time. It also shows that I don't cycle enough.
Me too. Okay. And then you said that it's like 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
From start to. So if I said, hey, I want a bike, here's my dimensions. Is there a questionnaire that you fill out, or how do you make sure that it's the right one? Would you ask me if I'm a touring rider or if I'm a criterium rider? Is that sort of in play as well?
Yeah. So I think one, it's not just about the dimensions or your anthropometry, right? It's not just about that. It's about what you want to get out of the bike. So if you tell me you're going for long distance, endurance is a priority.
Yeah.
Then of course, we might spec a taller head tube.
Yeah. Longer wheelbase,
Yeah,
maybe.
longer wheelbase. It's a bit more stable.
Yeah.
You tell me you're going to do criteriums, then I'm going to ask you like why you're risking your bike. But no,
Well, it's probably going to be stronger than a carbon bike, right?
yeah, it's true, right? So I'm going to do like demolition derby.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for criteriums, you prioritize maneuverability.
Yeah.
You prioritize response, stiffness, right?
Yeah.
So those are what we would put into the frame.
So if somebody wanted an ultralight bike with thinner tubes, for example, you could do that, right?
You could, but why not just get a carbon bike?
Yeah.
I mean, like honestly, this bike is not for everyone. You're telling me you're trying to build a 5 kilo bike. I'll tell you get a carbon, get maybe an Athos frame.
Yeah, or a Cannondale Super. What's a Cannondale?
Yes, the Super 6,
yeah.
like the Lab 71.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this bike is not for everyone.
Okay.
So it's for someone who wants something that's a bit more refined.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, what next for you guys? You've got wheels, you've got bottom brackets, you've got mini velos, you've got frames.
Yep, and we have a handlebar that's coming out really soon.
Okay.
So it's a really narrow handlebar.
For all the hipsters and the aerodynamic guys and the guys that are turning their woods.
Okay, so the way I think about it in terms of handlebars is that these you can make them really aero, right?
Yeah.
But I think that the rider contributes around 80 to 90% of the aerodynamic drag on a bicycle, right? So if you can design something that helps the rider achieve an optimal aerodynamic position, you're going to make so much more of a difference.
As in making their frontal area smaller, right?
Yes, you make your frontal area smaller, but traditionally, if you do that, it's going to be really taxing on your triceps and actually your core.
Yeah, and it's going to be harder to breathe.
Exactly.
You're going to be holding yourself a bit lower, your core and your lower back.
Yeah, correct. So our design allows you to maintain the position comfortably.
Okay, so UCI has recently clamped down on super narrow handlebars.
Yep.
How are you sort of tackling that issue? Or is this not completely UCI illegal?
Oh no, this is legal. I mean, I wouldn't release a bar that was in flagrant violation of.
Unless the person's going to use it in a World Tour race, it don't really need to be legal, right?
Okay, that's true. But so the way UCI does the bars, at least until they change the rules again, of course, is that the minimum width from drop to drop, so
outside to outside,
outside
right?
on the drops has to be around 35 centimeters.
Okay.
Or more.
Which is quite narrow.
It is pretty narrow, and our bars actually are wider than that. So at the drops, they're around 38 to 40.
Okay.
So this gives you a bit more stability when you're sprinting.
If you want a wider stance, you just go to the drops.
Correct.
So then that means that the hoods are.
So the hoods are there for you to tuck in, and just.
So they're doing the time trial, this sort of position, right?
Exactly. And comfortably.
Yep.
And sustainably. So the thing is that it's no point having something super narrow and having to stress the rest of your body. So you remember earlier, you have only this number of watts. If you spend more in your posture, you have less for the rest of it.
You want to spend as little energy and go as fast as you can.
Exactly.
That's the whole point of cycling.
And that's
the whole point of racing.
And that's what our bars do. So they're called the Aero, AERO, because
like kangaroo.
Exactly, because it's a collaboration with Brewworks in Australia.
Okay, so it is kangaroo. It's like Roo works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm not sure why anything comes out of Australia.
We've got rhubarb on the front of the car. Okay, so I guess it promotes that. So does that mean you even tilt the bar inwards so you don't have to tilt your hoods inwards?
Okay, so the bars themselves have an inward cant.
Yeah.
Around 10 degrees.
Okay.
So what this means is that the hoods themselves turn inward already.
So if the hoods are straight on the bars, they are actually in.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Because the UCI, they're now clamping down on the inward tilt of the bars, but that's relative to the bar itself, right?
Correct. So if the bars themselves are tilted in already, then actually there's no violation. It is legal.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
and are these Are these you finished the design? You've got your prototyping right now. What's the deal?
So we have production samples ready. In fact, there's one of them in the fronts being used by a pro rider.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
how did you get that? How did that happen?
Okay, kind of interesting. So I just came back from Perth earlier this
Nice
month.
place, I heard.
So it's in May. Yeah. So we actually signed on a new dealer.
Mm-hmm.
I think by the time this has been published, it'll be public as well.
I'll be in Perth when this is being published.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sweet.
okay.
So it's called Glenn Parker Cycles.
Yes.
They're one of the biggest and most reputable
Very
cycling
well known
stores.
cycling store.
So the owner Dennis he took a look at it and said, like, hey, where have these been all the time?
The owner's name is not Glenn.
It's not Glenn nor Parker, but
Okay.
so it took my head a bit of time to to wrap around that.
Yep.
So he sent one to his son, who is actually racing in France right now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, there's nothing better than like a pro level field test, right?
Yeah.
And
they'll give the best feedback as well, right?
correct. And he loves them. He's been racing in them, and I think he doesn't want to take them off.
So has he blacked out the logo so his team doesn't know it? It's not a sponsor. It's not sponsor correct for his team.
Hey, I'm not sure if the team has a sponsor.
I'm not sponsor anyone. Can go, right?
Yeah. So I mean, he's been writing it. I think feedback's been good so far, and we look forward to rolling it out around maybe July.
Oh, so it's quite soon.
Yeah.
So they're already in production.
Yes, they're in production. Not as fast as I like them to be, but it's manufacturing. Things happen. You got to make sure you get it right.
Yeah. Cool, man. I'm glad we've done this. I've learned a lot. So, anything else coming up that we should know about? What do you plan for the company? Since right now it's a Singapore company, you send stuff around the world.
Correct.
Do you want it to be a well-known brand everywhere, or what's the plan? Do you want to be Southeast Asia only? What are you trying to do?
Okay, so I mean, this goes back to the vision, right? So we want to reach the global cycling community.
Okay.
So what we're doing right now is we're designing like innovative products and trying to reach everyone else in the world.
Yeah.
So I mean, we are a small country, but I think we can have a global impact as well.
Yep.
And that's exactly what I want to do.
So if it's sustainable, you will just scale it as far as it will go.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
There's no because some people just want to keep it a small company, just focus on this area and not and just always be sort of that niche little company. But if someone says, okay, I like your wheels, your Polaris wheels, give me 1,000 sets for all of America, right?
No,
it would be hard to do, but that's sort of the order of magnitude that you would want to do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it would be a happy problem. I'll probably.
It'll be a cash flow crunch, but once you get over the hump, it'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we want to scale, of course. We want to reach like an audience around the world.
Yeah.
And I think most importantly, I want to make stuff that makes the riding experience better for people. Like
So if someone comes up to someone else on the road and says, hey, these are Ascent handlebars, then you'd associate that with ergonomics and comfort and usability, not just pure straight up speed, right?
So I think speed is a result of all of those things.
Yeah, true.
So you can't say like, this is not speedy, because I think that having something that's comfortable, aerodynamic, and very usable allows you to go faster.
Oh, it's the whole concept of having a bike that you like the color of, right?
Correct.
If you have something that you really enjoy, and your heart is full of joy every time you ride it,
exactly,
you're going to ride it more.
Exactly.
Right? So if you have a pink bike and you love the color pink and it happens to be a 105, and then you have a snot green bike, which is Dura-Ace, right?
Yeah.
You're going to ride the bike that you like, even if it's got the worst components.
Yeah.
And the whole point is to become a better cyclist.
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, I would sell the slot green bike and then buy the pink one and keep the change.
move the Dura-Ace over.
Yeah.
But the point is that you want to keep, it's about if you enjoy the product and you enjoy it, you're going to ride it more.
Exactly.
If you ride it more, you're going to become a better cyclist.
Exactly.
If you're a better cyclist, you're going to,
You're going to get faster.
Yeah, you're going to get faster.
Yeah.
And the whole point, is to enjoy the sport as much as you can. If you're racing, is to get faster, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So what's the best way to get a hold of you? Instagram? Ascent Bikes?
Well, Instagram is fine. Drop by the store. I mean,
So where is the store? We haven't mentioned that.
so the store is at Yishun.
Okay.
It's at one of the industrial areas.
Yep.
So it's more of a showroom. So I actually partner with Gentle Giant Cyclery. So
Okay.
Ben from there.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you can just walk in and
Yeah.
say hello, and
Yep.
it's available for people to walk in.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
some people have like a little storage unit where they do all the work and it's not actually customer facing.
So for us, it's in fact we encourage you to walk in. I mean, of course, it'd be good if you let us know beforehand.
Yeah.
But just come in, have a
So there'll always
have
be
a coffee.
There'll always
yeah.
be people there.
Yeah.
Okay. Drop in, give you a call. Instagram. What are your Instagrams? It's ascentbikes.main, right?
There's main and there's a dot road as well.
Okay.
So I mean, because we have quite a wide range of products. So like
Yeah,
I wouldn't post the mini velo stuff in the dot road as well.
So if you're a roadie, right, it would most likely be ascentbikes.road.
Yeah, you could
Or
you could,
triathlete, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, man. Thanks for coming by. I think we'll finish these beers after we stop recording. I think it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you
pleasure.
so much, and we'll catch up again soon. Okay.
All right.